we're back. Today's another day to be great. I'm Charbel Milan. Today we got
Leila Katerina.
and this is a time shared. So Leila, just to get you up to speed, like you aren't already, right? This is a time share, the one and only podcast where we are trying to bring innovation. We're trying to, bring light to the people who are out here creating, paving their own way, and ultimately striving for success. So before we get going, if you just want to get people up to speed on what you do and what they should know before we get started.
Yeah, sounds good. So my name's Leila. I'm 20 years old. I currently attend the Savannah College of Art and Design in Atlanta. I major in fashion design and I have a minor in fashion photography, which is a new thing that I decided to do this year. And I also have a clothing line where I focus on upcycling garments, reworking like thrifted pieces to make something more unique and more sustainable, because I think saving the earth is very relevant right now. I also have a YouTube channel, so I do like fashion stuff, beauty stuff, and I think that's what I do right now. But I want to, broaden that and expand my artistic abilities.
Okay, so you mentioned a lot of interesting things, and we're going to get to all of them. But just, to start things off, I read something earlier today, and it talked about how life doesn't give you purpose. We give life purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So as far as fashion goes, I know, or what I've heard is that fashion isn't the type of thing that you go look for. It's the type of thing that you always have, that you slowly start to reveal to yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
So at what point in time did fashion really start to become something that you couldn't push off and that you couldn't just take as a hobby? It was something that you had to do full time.
Yeah. Okay. So I always loved fashion. I always used to like watch different shows about fashion, like Project Runway and all of that. In high school, we were offered to do a fashion show. So basically it was unconventional materials. So like pillows, blankets, garbage bags, and like transforming them into wearable fashion. So I think doing that project at school was when I knew that I really wanted to like pursue this. And then into college, I kind of thought maybe I'll put it off and go like the more business route, and then I'll use the business for my fashion. But then I just, I was looking in the industry and like it's so fast paced that I knew that I needed to like start now instead of starting 4 years from now.
So did you feel like not that you were going to miss your chance, but that if you waited too long, you might kind of, miss like the development that you could have done in the 4 years?
Yeah. I definitely think I felt like I could miss like my chance. At fashion school so far, what I've learned is it's more than just, coming up with an idea in your head and we're going to make it. I mean, some designers can go that way. You can like get your stuff manufactured, but I really prefer like one-of-one pieces, or maybe not one-of-one, but like handcrafted, like knowing someone made this with their hands locally is like means more to me. Yeah.
It's weird that you said that, because I had another fashion designer on. This one guy, his brand is Miyagi Faith. Shout out Savion. Okay. And he brought a one-of-one piece, and it was like plaid pants, and then the pockets were different. And he was just talking about how he wouldn't sell it for the world because of what you said. It had value to him. It was a one-of-one, and that was his work.
Yeah.
So you like to focus on one-of-ones?
I do for right now, just because I'm starting out. I also have, other things I have to focus on, like school, should have come first. But so it's hard like having a brand at the same time. So right now it is one-of-one. Eventually I hope to maybe get a team or like something where I can make more of that piece in like different sizes and stuff like that.
Okay, so for someone who's an outsider and they don't really know anything about fashion, right? I mean, they know what fashion is, but they don't understand the multiple levels that are in fashion. Where does someone start? Like, what makes somebody a fashion designer, and what makes somebody just a fashion dreamer? Like,
okay, yeah. So I think if you want to design yourself, like there's a few different routes you can go. So you can, draw up the concept and give it to someone, and they make it for you, and okay. Or you can learn how to make it yourself. So I guess you need to start learning how to sew. Would be like, I think, the number one step. So you can learn how to like put these garments together. Sewing is definitely a skill that you can learn. It's maybe hard at first, but I think like anyone could definitely practice and get good at it. Next comes, let's see, there's pattern making, which I'm learning right now. It's basically like a blueprint for a garment. So if you want to make a shirt, you have to like do like some math and like technical stuff that I had no idea goes into like fashion.
Wow.
Yeah.
Math?
Yes.
How so? How does the math go into it?
So like you have to think about the measurements of like your neckline, your armhole, and making it on paper first, drawing it out, measuring that, and then like adding seam allowance. So when you sew it together, there's like ease for someone to be able to like breathe when you're wearing a garment. It's very complicated and interesting.
Oh,
Yes.
so then when you tie it together, you got to compensate for them pulling, like.
Seam allowance is leaving about like a quarter of an inch of the fabric. So you sew on the 2 pieces of fabric and you leave a little bit of fabric on the side just to make sure everything is perfect and clean.
Okay. Wow.
I think that's what it's for, at least.
Well, we hope.
Yeah.
We hope. That's what it is for today, for us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Perfect. So fashion is a weird thing. All right. Design is a weird thing. Well, you might be familiar, you might not, but did you hear about that one painting thing that was like a banana with a piece of tape?
Yes, I did.
Right. So on that topic, what makes fashion, in your opinion, appealing? Is it talent or is it being ahead of, quote unquote, the wave?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a mixture of both, and I think there's two different types of people that view things differently. Like a lot of the fashion right now, I think is popular because of the hype and the way people hype things up, and like maybe there's not a lot of a product, so it makes people want it more, things like that. But there's also like people who have a lot of talent and maybe don't get that opportunity to showcase to the world. Like maybe they're still starting out. So I don't know. I feel like it's very two-sided, like, or more than two sides too.
I feel you. I feel like there's a lot of creative people. There's a lot of good rappers. There's a lot of art that doesn't get brought to light. And it's unfortunate that, well, it's not unfortunate because don't get me wrong. I mean, someone who works hard for something and then gets recognized for it, they deserve it. But there's a lot of people doing a lot more. So that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I didn't know if that was maybe, I forgot who it was. I think it was Kanye, or no, I think it was someone talking about Kanye, and they were talking about how he always tries to start the wave, and because you don't want to be left behind type of idea. So interesting take on it. Okay, so I know you're working on a project right now about what does Atlanta mean to you and how Atlanta's influenced, or not influenced, but what you've found in Atlanta. So can you explain to us a little more about the project?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is my 3rd year in Atlanta. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. And I have just experienced so many different things, like being in the city, meeting like so many different people, especially this past year, just so many people I didn't even realize these type of people live here in Atlanta and are creative like myself and like to do the same things I like to do and have the same sort of vision. And I feel like because we're in the South, a lot of people are very friendly, like more friendly than maybe like up in New York. So there's like a sense of like family, and people really look out for each other here, and it's just really intriguing to me. So I wanted to create something that showcases how everyone feels about Atlanta, or how it's impacted them, or what they love about the city. So that will be on display at the end of April. And it's also just a chance for people to come out and see something they contributed to. Because then it kind of goes back to the city of Atlanta. Like people help each other out, stuff like that.
Okay, so it's a single piece?
It's a dress.
It's a dress.
So it's not finished yet. I'm still accepting responses. There's like a link in my bio on Instagram. And it's basically going to be like, without giving too much away, it's going to be pieces of fabric put together, and each piece will have a representation of what they said. Maybe not like the whole answer, but some sort of maybe abstract way of their answer, so they can come see like how their answer was on the dress.
No, it's super dope. That's original. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh, thank you.
So it's like, without giving too much away, so it's like a collage of ideas.
Yeah.
Or
yes.
not ideas, of feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe? Who
Like
knows?
a mood piece.
A mood piece. I like it. Oh, yeah, for anyone who's wondering what's going on here, we're at SCAD in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
This is
Yep.
the building. And so this is the fashion
Fashion floor.
And if only you guys could look around. But anyway,
Mhm.
okay, so what exactly does Atlanta mean to you other than, the fashion, other than the experiences, altogether, the energy that you get from the people here? Because you mentioned something really important about how it's like a family. People want to help each other. And I had a photographer, well, more of a videographer. I had him on maybe like a month ago, and he was talking about LA versus Atlanta, and he said LA's really cutthroat. People are just willing to step on anyone's neck to get to the top. And he said when he got back to Atlanta, he felt more of that like community bond. I almost want to
sure.
say like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
want to see you win. So have you noticed that as far as being here
100%.
versus Savannah? How's Savannah?
So Savannah is not really like a big city. It's more of like what you think of like a little small hometown. It has the city feel, but here is much more like more opportunities, especially my experience at SCAD. It's been like going back to the thing about Atlanta. It's like if I need a photographer, I can go downstairs and find one. If I need a graphic designer to help me make my project, I can find one here. If I need models, I can find them. And even on like in the city of Atlanta, I'll put on like Instagram, hey, like I need male models size this, and like I'll get tons of responses. And it's like people want to help each other, and I use them for my work, but they can also use it for their like modeling work and stuff like that. So I just feel like people are really supportive here, and there's a lot of different creatives and doing different things. And yeah, I think that everyone wants to see each other go to the top.
It's a very interesting response because it kind of blends together a lot of ideas. So it's almost like not only do I have resources, I have people for things that I need, but I also have support emotionally, right? And I feel like that's a really important thing that a lot of people don't really think about, is that when you're an artist, you're creating something. So there's nobody that you can ask a question. There's no one that you can, because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, I mean, I think everything that's art, I guess, works, quote unquote. But you know what I mean? If it doesn't work, it kind of all comes on you. The same way that if it does work, it all comes on you, which can be a good thing, right? So it's just, it's really interesting. Okay, so I had, I forgot what it was. It was an executive, I think it was an executive producer. Yeah, no, was it? Jeez, I can't even remember. Yeah, I think it was an executive producer. And he was pretty much, he was talking about how, like, with having resources and whatnot, it's always good. But he was talking about Atlanta kind of still being something that's still molding. It's not really an industry that is dedicated to music. It's not dedicated to fashion. Whereas, LA has its thing. New York has its thing.
Yeah.
Maybe Miami. I don't know. But could you see fashion being something that takes over Atlanta?
Yes. I think that Atlanta is on the rise to becoming that. I think that there's still a lot of stuff that needs to happen for the community to come together, maybe like city officials or something to help each other. I actually, a few months ago, or maybe the beginning of January, I went to a talk. It was called the Roundtable Talk, and it was basically a conversation about the fashion industry in Atlanta. So there's a lot of significant people there. There's a store here called No Signal. Emily is the owner. She sells basically like vintage designer stuff and archive pieces. It's a very cool store. It's on Georgia State campus, so you have to check it out. She was there, and she talked about how people who aren't from Atlanta like are intrigued about the city. They want to know what people are doing here. Like, it's in the rap music. It's in like songs like, about this city. And I think music, the music industry has ties with the fashion industry. You hear like a lot of rappers talking about certain brands like Alexander Wang, Rick Owens, Raf Simons. You hear them talking about these brands, and I think it helps the fashion industry. It makes fashion more appealing to maybe people who didn't know about it before. So I think that with the music industry being prominent in Atlanta, I think that can also help bring up the fashion industry. Maybe like artists finding or sourcing smaller designers in Atlanta and helping them grow. I think that also people need to like support small businesses and stuff because, we all gotta
We all gotta
make
chip
our
in.
yeah. We all gotta yes. That's how we grow with supportive people. And I think like social media is so great nowadays because you can like share your friends' work and people see it that wouldn't see it if they didn't follow you already. So
there is potential for fashion
definitely
to become like an
yes.
Atlanta thing.
But I think we all need to work together to do that and support the people who are from Atlanta, like Atlanta-based designers, and support that.
You know, I agree 100% because a lot of people won't admit it, but I will. There's a bunch of brands I had no idea existed. Rick Owen and Raf Simon. Just, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know they existed until you hear it in music.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you're like, well, let me look this up. And then you're just like, wow. I mean, not only are these people dropping a lot of money on this stuff, but this is actually, like, the weird part about fashion to me, designers specifically, is if you look at a lot of designer pieces, it's almost like you think that you're seeing a lot of stuff that you kind of see in like lower level brands, but the reality is it's kind of in reverse. The designer companies kind of drop new trends, and then everyone tries to replicate them on a cheaper scale so people can buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
Yes,
yeah, I'm right.
yeah.
So that's what I noticed when I started to look up designer brands. I was like, wait, I've seen this style, but then I was like, wait a minute, I think this is the original place that the style came, and then so that's pretty interesting. Okay, so I know you were just at the Virgil event, and he spoke personally. So tell us a little about that.
So that was really amazing. He spoke about. I'm trying to think back to it because it was a long talk. He actually answered one of my questions. That was cool. Everyone.
Like
so everyone wrote on a note card their question, and you put your name and you gave them to the person that was going to ask them the questions, and I think they asked 5 questions, and one of mine was the question. They pronounced my name wrong, but it was okay. I asked him if he could go back to his 20-year-old self, what would he tell himself given everything he's done now? And he said that he wouldn't change anything, which is like fine because, you know, he's so successful now. And something also that was very interesting that he said, and he also spoke about the music industry and people he's worked with, like Playboy Cardi, Kanye West, like people like that who have really developed an interest in fashion and also help him grow. He talked about how he would be in his living room wondering how, making it his goal to work for a luxury brand and how could he get there. And now he's the menswear designer for Louis Vuitton. And that's just, it like blows my mind that he came that far. And so basically that was what the talk was about, like how he became who he is now. He also talked about who his muses are. So he basically said, which I really loved and I really appreciated that he said this. He said like people, like normal people, like you and me, like the youth culture. And I think that's so cool. Like he said, he's so inspired by like sitting and talking to just people that like us. Like that's what inspires him.
You know, I love that last part because I don't know if I've mentioned this earlier, but the whole channel, the podcast, is called A Time Shared. And the reason it's called A Time Shared is because I personally feel like spending time conversating with people long form is really underlooked nowadays. Everybody's just on the go, trying to get there, quick text, quick message, I'll call you back. Oh, why is this guy even calling me? You know, that whole thing that no one even wants to talk to anyone anymore. And I feel like there's a lot of value to be found in sitting down like we are and just conversating long form about certain topics. So it's interesting that not only someone like him sees that, but that he's also trying to reach out to the people who don't necessarily have a name, because there's a lot of talent out there that doesn't get out there.
For sure.
It's nice to know that someone like that recognizes that. Wow.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I know you got to meet him personally, right?
Yes. It was brief, but he signed my shoe, and I told him that these shoes are like two sizes small than I normally wear, but I told him I wear them anyway, and he laughed, so that was cool.
So you wore them just to get him signed?
I've worn them, like, this is maybe my 5th time wearing them, and I've had them for a year. They're just so small. Like, they hurt when I wear them, but they're so cool. So they're like art. So
what are you going to do now? Are you going to frame it?
I don't know. I was thinking about getting a display, like a little clear shelf, in my room, or maybe like a clear box or something and putting it on the wall. That would be really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like hanging it from like a invisible string.
Right? Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely won't sell them.
Yeah, no, never. Yeah, because that's personal.
Yeah.
Did you put your name on there?
No,
Like,
no.
or you just
That
signed
would
it?
be cool. He just signed it.
Well, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, that'd
Wow.
be cool.
All right, so we know we're gonna take a turn.
Okay.
Could still pertain to fashion, because why not? Everything kind of relates to everything. Collective consciousness. But as far as the YouTube channel, right? So tell us about your YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah. So I've had my channel for 2 years now, a little over 2 years actually. And it's a mixture of different things. I do vlogs, beauty stuff, a lot of fashion stuff. And yeah, I have a good amount of videos. I try to post every week. Sometimes it gets hectic with school and the brand now, but I really loved doing it. And I think that it's helped me like grow my brand. And yeah, I'm really thankful that I have that.
You know, it's weird because a lot of people aren't willing to do that, aren't willing to take a step that makes them uncomfortable to eventually get somewhere down the line. Because if you could go back to yourself when you were starting that YouTube channel, right? Wait, so you said it was 2 years ago?
2.5.
2.5?
About.
So was it before college?
It was the summer going into college.
Okay.
So
Were you kind
maybe
of...
almost 3. That's crazy.
Jeez, yeah, maybe in like a month or 2.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ooh, can't believe it's March.
I know.
So were you kind of like, should I do it? I don't want to be one of those people, but I like doing my own thing. And you just did it.
I actually uploaded a video 2 years prior to making the channel. So I guess almost 5. Whoa, wait, no. I don't know. 4 years? That's crazy. I uploaded a video and it was like a lookbook, and then I put it on private because I just like got scared of what people would say. Actually, when I was 10 or 11, I also had another YouTube channel. And I think I had like 400 subscribers, which back then was like, oh, wow, like a good amount. And I did like music videos. So I would lip sync to songs. And I think my biggest regret is not keeping that channel. Like, I think I should have kept from when I was 12, like, or 11 or 12, making these videos. I wish I would. I mean, it's fine now because I have this channel now. But I do wish I would have like not worried about what anyone would say. I was scared like the boys in my class would find it and make fun of me.
You know, that's a problem a lot of people have. I've had that issue myself. But the best part is when you just kind of say, who cares?
Yeah.
And just put it out there. Because people are going to hate regardless.
Yeah.
People are going to watch this maybe and be like, look at them. They look stupid. This shit's replaying like 4 or 5,000 times. You know, people are always got to find something that they don't like. So I appreciate someone like you getting out there.
Thank you.
For someone who's listening right now, who isn't on the same page, they're still kind of nervous. What would you say to them? What would be some advice that you would give them to get started? Whether it's YouTube channel, fashion designing, just the whole mindset. Because that's all you can leave somebody with at the end of the day. I mean, I could give you advice, you could give me advice, but if I share with you my mindset, you can critique it into your mindset and vice versa. So what would you give somebody right now?
I think that if you have something you're really passionate about, but you're scared of what other people would think, I think that it might be easier said than done. But I think once you start living your life where you don't care what anyone thinks about you, I think your life changes. Because why does someone else's thoughts affect you? It's not physical, it doesn't literally affect you. It's in your head, and you got to live your life. Like, I don't think that you should worry about what anyone else thinks because that's on them at the end of the day, and you need to be yourself. And yeah, but it's also a process. Like, it's not like you can just automatically walk out one day and you don't care what anyone thinks. Like, I think you should just be confident in yourself and your art and your work, and just be determined and don't give up, because I think a lot of people start off doing something that they loved to do and it doesn't work at first. I've even struggled with that. Like, maybe something doesn't sell or nothing's happening. I think it's really important to stay and keep doing and work harder, because that shows so much that you didn't give up and you're really passionate about what you want to do.
Okay, so as far as continuing to push content, that's something you mentioned that I think is really important. That's something I do. It's just get it out there. Get it out there, get it out there. And don't worry about promoting it. Don't worry about, well, maybe fashion. But as far as this, I don't promote any of these because I feel like if someone finds it that wasn't looking for it, they found it for a reason.
Yeah.
Versus promoting it to, the 500-600 people you went to high school with that are going to hit on you regardless of what you do.
Right.
And that's something I think a lot of people don't understand. But another thing that I kind of do, right, is I like to manifest ideas. So instead of just putting something out there, I like to scheme it up in my head and work on it. That way I can present a product. Is that something that you've done or found success with?
Yes. I need to practice it more. Last year I had like a manifestation journal and I would write down like goals I would want to achieve and really try to like picture myself there and think that I already have it. And I think it's very powerful to do that. But also you have to act on it too. You can't just like wish for something and sit around and hope it happens. I think it's really important to take the action for something to happen and then just stay positive about it.
I like that. Take the action for something to happen and stay positive about that. So have you ever, are you like a spiritual person by any chance?
Yeah, I definitely am. I pray and I feel like I have a connection with something. Yeah, is that a great answer?
I agree.
Okay.
It's weird because it's like the more you learn, the less you know and use, the more you're confused.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, I had someone else on here and they said a confused mind is the same as a negative mind. And at first, I almost didn't agree, but then it sat with me and I was like, wow, a confused mind can kind of be the same as a negative mind.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Okay. So once again, we are here at SCAD. How has being at SCAD helped your journey without like the obvious reasons? I mean, going to school for fashion is definitely going to help. But
Yeah.
what are some of the things that have happened as a result of being here?
So I've met amazing people who have given me opportunities and chances to collaborate and benefit like both of us. It's just really nice to make connections with people who go here and understand like the workload of being an art student, living in Atlanta. Yeah, it's just been really, I think that's been like one of my favorite parts about this school. Not only am I learning, the fashion stuff, also the professors here are very like top of the line. One of my fashion professors has a clothing line that Gigi Hadid like just wore his stuff. And I'm like, what? Like this is my professor like teaching me this stuff in class. And that's crazy to me.
Wow.
So that's really cool that this school has provided so many different, people come to SCAD to speak that I'm not sure. I'm sure other schools also have like guests that come to speak sometimes, but it's just really cool. I feel very blessed to be able to go here.
So like leaving GSU was a must.
Yes, but I don't regret it at all, because I met people at Georgia State that I wouldn't be where I am now, if I
made this happen.
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't be right here in this room if we never met each other. So yeah, I met someone actually at Georgia State. His name's Trey. He's one of my really good friends now. And I always think about, I went to New York Fashion Week in September, and I wouldn't have gone if it weren't for him. He went to Georgia State. He dropped out his junior year, I think, or almost before his senior year. He moved to New York, tried to do some modeling, didn't work out, but he instead got a job. I'm sorry, his modeling didn't work out, but he kind of discovered a new passion, I would say. So he started doing creative, I can never remember the name, but something creative for Nordstrom, the Nike X Nordstrom store at the flagship store in New York. And he, went up there, showed him his portfolio, all this stuff. Anyway, so he's just like very inspirational. I always call him like when I need advice, or like I'll show him a new piece I made. He'll like give me critique. Sometimes I get mad at him, but I'm really thankful for him because he tells me the truth. And anyway, he just told me like email everyone you know in New York and you're going to come up here. So I did that. And I'm like on FaceTime with him when I bought my ticket to New York. And it was a very like full circle moment. When I was there we actually met Frank Ocean together in New York. And it's just like crazy. Like if I never would have gone to Georgia State, I would have never met him. And maybe none of this would be happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes.
I know that was like 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
So I went twice to
Wow,
New York
okay.
Fashion Week. So there's one in September for spring summer 2020, and then there's one this past February, which is for autumn winter this year.
Okay, so you met Frank Ocean, and that whole experience was spring or September,
Yes.
and then you just went a couple months ago or a month ago.
A few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah, and I saw him again.
So
Trey, not
what's
Frank.
the atmosphere like up there? Because I know that's it's pretty.
Yeah,
Is it New York or is it LA? Which one's the fashion one? I always get confused.
New York.
New York.
New York. I mean, there's fashion in LA too, but it's different. They don't have like an LA Fashion Week. I don't think.
So it's more like show business over there,
New York is.
or not New York, LA.
Oh, LA. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
More like video. Sorry, not
The whole
movie.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood. Maybe like
Who even
music.
knows anymore? Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a mixture of all things there. But in New York, it's very fast paced. Like they had me running so many errands, and it was great, you know, that I was up there networking. I've met so many people the past 2 times I've been. Yeah, it's not for the weak. Is what I'll say.
What do you mean by that? See, those statements right there is what we live for. It's not for the weak. What is the weak in fashion? Is it
Okay.
rejection? Or
It's not just fashion, I would say. New York.
oh, okay.
Like for the type things happen there that could just absolutely ruin your day, but you have to smile or fake smile. I mean, people don't really smile there, but you have to fake it till you make it, you know. Trey actually told me that he said it takes everyone 2 years in New York to settle in, which is a long time. I mean, when I moved to Atlanta, it took me maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, he said there it's hard because it's like a huge city. There's so many people there. And when you first moved there, I mean, it's probably pretty lonely because you don't have a friend group. You're in this huge city with all these people, but you feel so alone at the same time. So that's how he's described to me his experience there because he lives there now. But as I was visiting, it feels like you're in a movie, kind of. Like everyone around you is so fast-paced, like doing their own thing. You're in the subway and there's so many people in there. Like it's so interesting to think, what are all their lives? Like what are they going to do? Where are they on the way to? It's so interesting to me. So I would say that you have to, maybe you can become stronger there. Like it can harden you up and prepare you. Yeah, for.
That's crazy. Because I think that too. I watch people and I'm like, what the hell's going on in their life? It's like I can feel it. It's like, well, not really, but I think I can sometimes. I think I'm kind of like really empathetic.
Me too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So you can just kind of see it and you're just kind of like, damn, I wish I could help that person. Or I wish I could get like that person. Wow. Well, that's crazy. So that's New York. So just to kind of like pull back a little bit, you said that one of your teachers did something, has a clothing brand. Gigi Hadid wore it recently, right? Does that kind of fuel the mindset within you that kind of proves it can be done?
Yes. It's very inspiring to have these people at SCAD to see and to listen to, because I think when you're majoring in art, it's not some families like won't support that. It's not like
I know what you mean.
You know what I'm trying to say. It's maybe slightly frowned upon. So I think that it's really important for art students to have the chance to meet people who have made it in the industry, because it gives yourself hope and you want to continue to do what you're doing.
Do you think that's a problem, that people look at art as, you're never going to get a job, or but how's that actually going to make you money? Do you think that perspective is A, wrong, and B, just kind of affecting the fashion industry? Like, is it true? Because I mean, I don't know. What are okay, let's say you start a brand and it takes off. Obviously that's one way, but what else is there to do in fashion? Like, how do you make money?
Right. I don't know the full answer yet because I'm not where I want to be yet. I'm at a good start. I would say that it's definitely, I think that if you're passionate about something, you can make that a job. Like nowadays, I think it's very easy to make money with the way us young people are. It's everyone has that like entrepreneurship like mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that if you do it right, I think you can achieve and be very successful as if you got a different major that isn't artistic. So I think that it's changing. Like years ago, tattoos weren't accepted in the work industry, but now it's almost becoming like it's okay, and they don't mind if you have tattoos or dyed hair or piercings. Like it's becoming more accepting. So I think we're on the right path for art to be like a normal profession.
You know how you said that everyone our age is kind of on that entrepreneurial type of.
Yeah.
Do you believe in the whole like, not zodiac, but like the whole like energy type of what's the word for it? Like I was informed that right now we're in like a Mercury retrograde. That whole type of stuff, right? Do you think that that's part of people starting to kind of wake up and realize that I don't want to work for someone else, even if I'm making less money, I want to do my own thing, or we got to help each other, or I don't know. I just feel like like an older generation, well, not an older generation, but the older generation, they kind of had their minds like kind of messed up. It was kind of like you get a degree or you pick up a trade or you do whatever your parents did. And if you kind of stepped out of that, you were taking a huge risk. But now it's kind of just what you said. It's just go out there and try. Do you think that's, I mean, obviously beneficial, but do you think that has something to do with the external force? Do you believe any of that kind of stuff?
I don't know a lot about the Mercury retrograde or whatever. I would like to know more about it. I am like sort of into astrology, but I'm not like die hard. I don't know everything about it. I do believe in energy though. Like, has someone ever walked in the room and instantly you just don't feel comfortable because they're so negative and they're just not in a good mood, and you can feel that energy. So how can you explain that? Or when you meet someone for the first time and they're like so bubbly and they're so kind and they really have a good like aura about them. I mean, that doesn't like lie. I think that's really powerful. Or like when people come together and they're positive, I think that's so powerful. So I think that, I'm sure the earth has something, the universe has something to do with that. I know like on full moons, for example. Now, I'm no scientist, so this could be like completely wrong.
Hey, look, I have no idea.
Okay.
So whatever you say, I'm going to take it as,
okay.
You know what? This is fact. All right.
So I know that when it's a full moon, and I want to say when it's a full moon, the tide is high, the ocean. I think. Could be wrong. Like I said, I want to say though when it's a full moon or like a certain type of moon, like when there's an eclipse or something, it affects the barometric pressure in the earth. So like a lot of people can get headaches when it's a full moon. I know also when it storms, you can get a headache because of the pressure outside. So, I mean, that has to affect us. Like, obviously, I mean, these planets in the sky, like, I definitely think they affect us in some way. Now this is the fact that I wasn't sure if it's correct, but apparently the human body is 70% water. So if the moon is affecting the tide in the ocean.
Oh my God, I know what you're about to say.
Yeah, like it has to be affecting us because we're also made of water.
I've never thought about that. Wow. Huh.
And that's why they say like on a full moon, like the crazies come out because it can make people act a certain way.
Yeah, right. A lot of people die on a full moon.
Oh, I didn't know that. But.
Yeah, because I heard a lot of more murders happen. But then someone tried to say it's because you can see it at night. So historically, if someone couldn't see, they wouldn't go out. But I kind of like what you said, though. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
So I kind of imagined like little tides in the body. Wow. So do you think energy kind of can lead to people? Well, that's kind of consciousness. But what I'm trying to say is the whole energy consciousness. Do you think that leads to certain things occurring? Like, for example, right, we're in Atlanta, and this may be part of your plans, this may be not. But do you plan to try to reach out and work with artists, rappers, to not only wear your stuff on stage, but to shoot and stuff like that? Is that something you plan on doing?
Yes. And it will happen.
Okay.
Definitely. I'm being confident and excited. Right now, I'm in the process of making a new collection for the end of April. So like the one of one pieces. So I've definitely thought in my head like, oh, who do I want to envision wearing this, and kind of like design things based on like maybe stage wear, if I would want them to wear it on stage, or just like posting for an Instagram picture or something like that. So yeah, that's definitely in my future soon.
Do you know Diddy's magazine called Stizzy, I think it is, or Rizzy, or I didn't know it existed. So I had this one girl on maybe 2 episodes ago. Her name's Umi the Go. She's a rapper coming out of Atlanta. She's starting to pop pretty big.
Cool.
And she's really into the whole fashion thing, right? So her girlfriend is a fashion designer as well. And she was at Diddy's event in Los Angeles, right? And they were dressed up. So they got a little liquor courage, apparently, is what she said. And they just kind of followed Diddy. And well, no, they snuck into the VIP because they were like, we look like celebrities, let's just walk in. So they did that, and then they were in the VIP, and then they wanted to get in Diddy's VIP. So they didn't know what to do. They were contemplating it, and then Diddy started walking by. So they were like, let's just follow Diddy. So they just followed Diddy into the VIP. No one really asked them anything because they were right behind him. And then once they got in, they were like, all right, we're going to leave him alone. And they were walking around, and, someone snapped a photo of her.
Uh-huh.
And then, whatever, time goes by, they have a good night, they're back in Atlanta. And then that photo ended up on the cover of the magazine. And so she gets a call one day she didn't know that photographer was the head photographer of Diddy's magazine. So she gets a call one day, and
Diddy, like the rapper?
Diddy.
Is that okay?
P. Diddy.
I didn't know you had a magazine.
Or yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So she's on the cover. I don't even think it's out yet.
Okay.
But
wow.
So they reach out to her, and they were like, we've been searching LA, New York, and now Atlanta to find you. And now we found you, and you're gonna be on the cover.
How did they find her?
It's just what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't go by her first name. I don't know. Really good question. But so she's gonna be on the cover of that, and what's it called?
Wow.
I was going somewhere with this. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, long story short, you guys should collab. I should try to link you guys together.
100%. I would love that.
Yeah.
I think any opportunity I can have with.
Because she performs a lot. She does a lot of like smaller shows, but she does a
Cool.
lot of them.
That's cool.
So maybe we could get you in touch with her, and you could design something, and she could wear it.
Yeah, I would love that.
You never know.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's what it's all about. My network's your network, and that's what it's all about. But I was going somewhere with that. Oh yeah. So do you have any plans to do something like that with artists like right now? They've kind of not even reached out to, but just in your head.
I definitely have sent my fair share of DMs to some artists. I don't know if they see them, but I have a friend. His name's Jordan. I think you might know him. He goes to Georgia State.
Maybe.
He performs, and anyway, I've talked to him about making something for him, and like he'll wear it on stage or something like that. So yeah, that would be like really cool just to start, because he's like my good friend, and he's definitely gonna blow up soon.
Right?
So, yeah.
I feel like that's the way, the rappers.
Yeah.
Because not only do they have exposure, but they have voice. So
for sure.
Best of both worlds. Because that's one thing that I realized when I was talking to Umi. Is she was just talking about how if we wouldn't have taken that risk to sneak into a VIP and just wearing what she was wearing, and I mean, they took a picture of her because of what she was wearing.
Right.
She had like this, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a sash.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like platinum, is your hair platinum?
Oh, yeah,
platinum,
yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's kind of like platinum, and it's like stitched together, and she like throws it over. She was wearing it in the podcast we did, and and then she was wearing like a dress. I don't even know, but they looked extravagant.
Yeah.
And they got them in a VIP, and that's kind of something that I try to push on the show, is that you got to take an uncomfortable step to get somewhere. Like what if I never hit you up? What if she never walked in? Things like that. So it's very interesting how a lot of people hold themselves back and don't achieve, but then the people that just, like you said, who cares? Just get out there.
Exactly. I think that especially in any industry that's music, fashion, entertainment, whatever, I think that like everyone is nobody until they're somebody. Unless you're born into fame,
That's not fair.
But yeah, but
not fair.
Everyone was once where we are. Not that we're not nobodies, but everyone was once starting off somewhere. And I think that, like I said before, like fake it till you make it type of thing. Like you can if you act like you're supposed to be there, then you're supposed to be there. You can't hold back. Like you said, she just walked in, wasn't afraid. That's how you have to do, because you never know what can happen. And now she's going to be on the cover.
Yeah, she already is.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
She showed me, but she can't post about it on Instagram.
That's cool.
Because of the, I guess, copyright.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so believe it or not, we're almost at an hour, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
What is something that you want to leave the people with? The people that are coming here and that are looking to be inspired, right?
Yeah.
What is the mindset that you would leave somebody with who is just now starting their journey to success? And once again, to define success, that's, its own thing. But
yeah. All right. I really got to think what I want to say. So.
Click this.
Okay.
Cool. I was like, has that been on? All right.
Like I said before, I think the first thing is to not worry about what anyone's going to say, because you will receive criticism or something. Miss J. Alexander, who is a fashion icon, came to speak at SCAD last week. And they were talking about how you will receive a million no's before you receive a yes. Or, I mean, some people, sure, they're lucky. But you're going to get told no. Or maybe people won't like your stuff. But like I was saying before, it's so important. I think the key is to keep going. And that shows like you have drive and passion and you're determined and you love what you do. So yeah, I think that if you want to do something, you should do it and be consistent with it and work hard and spend 10,000 hours doing something to get there. And I'm on the way. I don't have 10,000 yet, but we're both on the way.
Yeah, we are. We're both on the way. Wow. So, everyone that comes to watch this, they support you and they want to, they want to get involved. They want to get in touch. They want to be up to date. So if you just want to take a moment, shout out all the Instagram pages, but YouTube channel, but what else? The website, the blog thing, everything. If you just want to shout that out now.
Look over there.
Oh, you can do whatever you want.
Okay. So my personal Instagram is Leila, Leila, Katerina, Katerina, and that's the same for my YouTube channel. And then for my clothing line, it's called byleila. I don't even know if I said that. So that on Instagram is shop.byleila. And then the website should be in the bio of that. But if not, it's by-leila.com.
Wow. Is it by like B-U-Y or B-Y?
B-Y.
B-Y. Oh, okay.
Like by Leila. Yeah, like the clothing by Leila. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's been great having you.
Thank you.
I feel like not only have we gained a lot, but it's just nice to get insight from people in multiple positions who are out here creating, because that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, thank you too for having me on
definitely
here.
But yeah, so I'm Sharbal Milan. Today we got
Leila Kyriakis.
And this has been A Time Shared. Thank you so much.